Namaste. I am Save the Frogs founder, Dr. Kerry Kriger, and I'm going to be reviewing Save the Frogs Day graphic designs from various Save the Frogs grantees. Check out savethefrogs.com/day to learn more about Save the Frogs Day, and check out savethefrogs.com/grants to learn about Save the Frogs grants. And hey, we even have a graphic design course in Save the Frogs Academy. All right, so let's get to this. First off, I don't know what these are for as far as if they're intended for print or online, so that does change things. But this one is, the name of it is banner.png. I'm going to assume it's for print. All right, so April 28 every year. Since this already says 2025, we know that you're not going to use this in 2026. So I would just go ahead and put April 28th, 2025 if that's the day of the event. And then here you can just put Save the Frogs Day at Go to Goti Lake Complex, Nepal. I can tell the resolution is very low here. Just make sure before this thing goes to print that you're using high resolution graphics. That may be difficult if you just have a photo here, because who knows how big that photo was. Things that go to print that are going to be big, probably best to have them originally in vector graphics. Hey, you may not know what that means or what it does, but an actual graphic designer will. The colors here are nothing special, like black here and white here. It doesn't really help the visibility. You know, there's no background here, so this is on top of the lake and part of it's on top of the shoreline. I like things being black and green because that's Save the Frogs colors. The font ideally would be a Save the Frogs font, and you can find that info in the brand guide. It's not critical. PI. Do people need to know that? Will people even know what PI means? An email address. Hey everyone, go check out my email address. How about a dedicated URL? Yeah, I've been slow creating that, but we can make it even if it's not ready. You can always give a URL and then you can make the URL later. So I would go ahead and rule always have a URL on anything you create related to Save the Frogs, and probably related to your own organizations. Okay, because why not? We want the people to learn more. Where can they learn more? On the website. So savethefrogs.com/Nepal would work. Savethefrogs.com/day would work. Savethefrogs.com would work. It's less specific. Even more specific, savethefrogs.com/day Nepal 2025. But let's go ahead and make up a URL. You can ask me, hey, what's the URL for this event? And then people looking at this can go to that page and they can find info on this event, and they can find photos of the event a month from now or a few weeks from now or whenever we get the photos up online. And there they can find your contact info. I've never seen a banner that's just got a big Gmail address printed on it. And while we're on the topic, get yourself your own website, abashkaple.com, and then imagine how much more professional it would look if you put Abash at abashkafle.com as opposed to at gmail.com, which signifies to people who know the difference between a good email address and a bad email address, which is professional and which is not. Paid email addresses or email address, it's called a professional email address, something at yourwebsite.com, not at Gmail, not at Yahoo, not at AOL. So something to consider. We're off topic. Let's get back to the graphic design. This logo, it's fine. It's black. The black and white it's not visually pleasing. We've got cooler looking logo. Look, right here you've got orange and green. Okay, the URL, okay, there is the URL. I didn't even notice it down there. It's not the relevant URL, though. More relevant, savethefrogs.com/day, savethefrogs.com/Nepal, savethefrogs.com/this events webpage. So this thing is just like, an image of the URL pasted there. I'd rather just, down here put the actual URL, right there. If it's for print, you can put a QR code. I have an article on making beautiful QR codes on my site 02webmaster.com, 0 written out, then number 2, webmaster.com/QR dash codes. Just go to 0to-webmaster.com, type QR codes in the search. You'll find it. If it's for print, you may want a QR code going to that same URL that you use. Anyway, go into our brand guide folder that you have and get the better logo, the one you see all over our website that's got a black background, it's got orange and green text, and the orange-eyed tree frog. That would look better there. All right, next up, let's see what the next thing is in here. Okay, Save the Frogs Day, SaveTheFrogs.com, threats in Nepal. Let's advocate for amphibians, a group facing exceptional threats. Importance of frogs. Aside from the actual text on this thing, how about all these black things could be Save the Frogs green, and then it would look better. The text is fine. I assume this is for kids. Save the Frogs Day, April 28th, every year. Here's where you would put every year, because then you can recycle this forever. It doesn't need to be event specific, like the 17th annual Save the Frogs Day, April 28th, 2025. That's year specific. Year specific. But this one, I'd put April 28th every year, because then people know it happens every year. All right, I think logos can usually go, like, the main thing is not the logo. The logos can go at the bottom. URLs can go at the bottom. Together for amphibians sounds kind of cool. It's not a real call to action, though. It's like a slogan, maybe, I don't know, a fight slogan or something like that, but it's not a call to action. Call to action would be like, visit this web page to learn more. Visit this web page to sign up. Sign up here. Take action here. Something like that would probably be better than that. You don't really need this frog here. It looks fine, but he's already up here. I would just go ahead, move the important info to the top, save the Frogs Day. Looks weird. Why not write it out in one line? Save the Frogs Day. That's the header that's going to catch someone's attention. And then it could be April 28th every year. And then there can be info here. This little thing is like, that's kind of at the end. That's another like slogan or something. That should be brought down. Notice that it wasn't important enough to get a header. And that means it's not important enough to be the first thing people see after this right here, because people are going to be looking at the top left of the page to start out. So I wouldn't put that. Threats in Nepal. I would just put threats to frogs. If this thing is Nepal focused, that's the only mention of Nepal on the whole thing. That's why maybe at the bottom it should say SaveTheFrogs.com/Nepal if you're interested in this being Nepal-wide, that anyone in Nepal could use for their events. Careful with the clear space on the edge or the margin, the padding. You don't want things to be like shoved up to the edges, and right here they're definitely right against the edge. I don't know if these are logos or they're just pictures of frogs. It's fine. It should have frog themes, but think about, does your organization have a logo? And should it be on there? Maybe not. Maybe so. All right, let's look at some more of these. All right, Lowland Frogs of Nepal. This one is not designed by you, so I won't go into it, and it's more or less good. We've made this thing look good in the past, so it's already been assessed. This looks pretty bad right here. Like, I can see the black square. You need a professional. You're taking things to print. Do you know anybody with actual graphic design experience? Nothing against your graphic design experience. We do the best we can, but there are some people who, like, that's their thing professionally or educationally, that they are graphic designers. And I don't think any graphic designer would put this thing up here with a big black background, because it's going on a black shirt. You want it clear. You don't want the square to be visible, and a graphic designer knows how to deal with that. You can also go to SaveTheFrogs.com/shop. If you're not going to be designing anything that original, and there's nothing that original about this, like, it's not specific to Nepal, it's not specific to your event, then you could just go to SaveTheFrogs.com/shop or SaveTheFrogs.com/shirts, and pick out a shirt there that you like and say, hey, Kerry, can you send me the files that are already made for this shirt so I can print it? Otherwise, make up an original shirt if you want. But for that, I would have a graphic designer. Together for amphibians, and it's going too wide. Okay, 23 centimeters max is probably what you want, because otherwise it's going to go out to the shoulders. And I don't know, together for amphibians, it's kind of cool. You know, it's not I don't know, it's not a call to action like or it's not maybe on brand. I'm trying to think of like, is there a slogan that Save the Frogs has always used? Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, this is fine. The main thing, make it smaller. I'd capitalize the F. Does it need to be on one line? No. You gotta be together for amphibians going down like that. And front side, just the logo needs to be fixed up. I personally would put the logo on the front and the URL on the back. Okay, URL could be with a slogan or something like that. URL should go on the back because URLs are kind of like, it's cool that they're on the front, but they're kind of like promo marketing. You know, it's educational, yes, but at the same time, people usually probably just like make the back of the shirt where the URL is. That's my suggestion. All right, that's it. Good luck with everything. Hi, next up, Save the Frogs Day event in Bangladesh at Tir. Nazifa Tabassum is the grantee. And this says leaflet, so I assume it's for print. And it's all yellow. Those aren't Save the Frogs colors. Are they Tir's colored? Tir being the university. If so, that's fine. Otherwise, I'd be curious why yellow is being used. Here we've got supported by, organized by, and supported by. Let's make this bigger. Let's just let's start at the top. Frog is our friend. That's not proper English. So for all of this, I would have someone with native English or really good English read it over, or just copy out the text, put it into Chat GPT, say this is the text of my poster. Please ensure it is perfect English and let it fix things up. Frog is our friend is not correct English. It sounds weird. Frogs are our friends. Could work. Frogs are our friends. But even so, should that be the headline? I don't think so. How about 17th annual Save the Frogs Day? Boom, that's really big. Or Save the Frogs Day 2025. I wouldn't put it all together. 17th annual Save the Frogs Day 2025. It's kind of like doubling up the information on it or something like that. Or you could do Save the Frogs Day April 28th, 2025. But I'd probably just put 17th annual Save the Frogs Day or Save the Frogs Day 2025, and it appears you don't yet know your event date. If you knew your event date, you could put that on here. But in reality, these things are going to go beyond the day itself. So unless you're promoting the day, if you do plan to use these perpetually, you may not want to date it at all. And you can just put Save the Frogs Day, April 28th every year. But really the flyer, this is like a leaflet you're handing out. The important thing is the info, not the fact that it's an event. It's not like the banner that's at the event. So really at the bottom, that could be like how you can help, which is not on here. There's frogs. Well, I don't know why that's a question. Okay, it could be like, what are frogs? Who are frogs? Or about frogs. Probably just about frogs. Frogs are amphibians, cold-blooded animals. Main food of frogs is various types of insects and spiders. That may be correct, but frogs eat lots of different things. I don't even think that needs to be there. That's like natural about frogs or something like that. Anyway, I'm not going to go into the scientific correctness of the text here. I'm just here for the graphic design. The images are going to be really small, probably, which could be fine. Common toad, Indian bullfrog. There's no scientific names. I'd use a scientific name if possible. You could use less photos, or the photos could be bigger and you could have less text. You don't need to jam everything on one. You will be limited in what you can put on this thing. Threats for frogs. It's threats to frogs. T-O. Threats to frogs. Habitat destruction, urbanization, and farming. Let's see. Again, I'm not going to get into this. The text itself, just let's look at it. It's on white. It's got these kind of yellow circles, which could be fine, but you don't ever want anything, especially when it's for print, to come up right to the edge. You always need a padding. You always need margin. You always need clear space around things. Otherwise, it's going to get chopped, and it doesn't look good when everything's jammed up. It's too jammed together. Why we need frogs. It's not a question. You're going to tell us why we need frogs. So I would just put why we need frogs or why frogs are important. I'd like you to note also that we have a flyer. We have a page. If you go to Save the Frogs Academy, go to the course called Flyers. And the very first flyer has a lot of this info. Some of it you may just want to pull straight from that flyer. And then you don't have to make stuff up from scratch. Mosquitoes should not be capitalized. Frogs of Bangladesh. Now, maybe that should be at the start. Okay? Frogs of Bangladesh should just be the first thing. Combine it all into one thing. Because this is for Bangladesh. Frogs are amphibians. Doesn't matter that they're cold-blooded, and that's not too scientific a term anyway. I believe it's ectothermic. Frogs are amphibians. 60 frogs are found in Bangladesh. Something to that effect. I'd combine it into one thing. And then you could put the photos together. That's not the best photo. If you have better photos, it's always good to have better photos. It's fine, though. These I don't like. They're clearly AI created. It's the same exact photo twice. If you use it, it should only be there once. It's fine in that AI stuff is fine if it's going to do something you can't get otherwise. Like, it's hard to find a photo of a frog eating mosquitoes. This gets the point across. Frogs eat mosquitoes. That's fine, but maximum one photo. You don't need two photos of the same thing. If you created the AI, then a good AI prompt could probably make it. Like, I don't like to try to make things look real in AI usually, because you can tell it's not real, but it's like trying to be real. I'd rather it just be artistic, and then I try to just like, look, this is just art of a frog eating mosquito. But whatever, it's not that important. Just going forward, but definitely just one photo right there. Note again, these are all jammed up. Like, do you really need like the big yellow blotches here? Why not just make frogs in bold and maybe a different color? First, I wouldn't use the yellow unless your university colors are yellow. I would not use it. I'd use either the Save the Frogs Bangladesh colors or the official Save the Frogs orange and green, or the tier colors, but maybe the yellow is tier color. All right, life circle of frogs. It's called the life cycle, CYCLE. It's fine. It depends who it's going to. Who's going to be reading this? University students probably know this because they've been seeing it their whole life. Probably if it's going to kids, then that's probably important. Now, conservation initiatives, how you can help. It'd be good to have how you can help or like take action with at least 1 or 2 points, such as learn more at savethefrogs.com/Bangladesh. Let's get to the end of this. Let me see if I can get rid of that. This thing is disturbing me down here, blocking my view, and it won't go away. Let me go like this and just, can I move this up? I'm trying to, it's really odd. All right, I can't show the bottom, sorry, but down here, URLs should always be at the bottom. You always have to give someone something more to do. Say the visit, learn more, or it doesn't even need to say it, it's just implied. Here's the URL to learn more. Savethefrogs.com/day or savethefrogs.com/Bangladesh. Something to that effect. Or just savethefrogs.com. But, you know, why not get a little more relevant? Savethefrogs.com/Bangladesh would be cool. You've got the logo right there. People may want to learn more. That's it. Good luck. Welcome back. I am Save the Frogs founder, Dr. Kerry Kriger. We're going to take a look at this Save the Frogs Day event that I will be attending. This is taking place in Kolkata, India, and West Bengal, April 28th, 2025. Sarbani Nag, president of Save the Frogs India, is organizing this, and the filmmaker Suhas Prem Kumar will be in attendance. Hey, join us if you can. Info's up on the website, savethefrogs.com/India. You can find it right there. All right, so this banner is similar to one that we've been using here throughout India. It looks a little bit different, but it should be in pretty good shape because we've already put time into similar banners. Now this right here, and maybe this, I can't tell if this is for print or not, and that always changes things. Right here, like if it's for print, I wouldn't necessarily need this. Maybe it looks cool to have this frame around it. Either way, though, let's take a look what's going on. We've got logos. Check. That's good. We've got a URL. Check. That's good. All right. We've got a QR code. That's good if it's for print. I don't find your QR codes useful if it's just, already on the internet because someone may be on their phone and I don't know what to do with QR code I'm looking at on my phone. I need my phone. Like right now I'm holding up my phone and I'm going to scan it to see what it opens. Like, does it work? It does work. It's going to savethefrogs.com, but which page is it going to? Save the Frogs India is where it goes. All right, that's fine. I would make it more specific because we will have an event page for this. So why not make it savethefrogs.com/day-Calcutta-2025, which already exists. We've made that page. So it shouldn't be savethefrogs.com/India. It should be the specific page. If there's space, you could have multiple URLs, but savethefrogs.com/day-Calcutta-25. A little bit longer, but more specific information for a person going to the page. How do you find the event, what's happening at the event, or if it's after the event report and photos. All right, 17th annual Save the Frogs Day. Good, that's what the event is. It's big. The colors are more or less Save the Frogs colors, orange and green. This is kind of brown, but maybe orange was just hard to read. Orange is kind of a difficult color sometimes. Looks fine, though. By Save the Frogs and Save the Frogs India in collaboration with the Heritage School, Calcutta. You probably don't need a period there. Screening of award-winning documentary Little Planet, A Tale of Frogs. So it says what's going on. It says when it is. It says where it is. And we'll assume that's easy to find on a mapping app. And we've got a frog so people can tell it's frog themed. This guy is cool. I see him all over the place. I personally wouldn't use this frog. It's fine though. I mean, it fits perfectly. It looks like he's crawling up there. It's just that I don't know, he's some famous internet frog. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's not a good thing. I personally don't use it, but it's fine. Yeah, that's all there is for this one. It looks good. I don't know this is the white space. This is the clear space here. So for print, even if it gets chopped off, like say you chop off the edge of that frog, the printer by mistake or something, no problem because there's nothing important up at the edges, which is good. Next. All right, so this looks like it's for promo on the web. And it's got the same basic info, 17th annual Save the Frogs Day. I'd probably move that 17th annual over so that's lined up. By Save the Frogs and Save the Frogs India. For me, it doesn't even need to say Save the Frogs. That's kind of like duplicate. It looks duplicated. For me, if it says by Save the Frog with Save the Frogs India, that's perfectly fine because Save the Frogs name is in there. And it's implied that Save the Frogs has something to do with it. Sarbani, you could put your photo up there too if you want. So all the same basic info. Scan to register. If they're on the web, unless they're looking at their computer, they're not going to be able to scan. It's like so big and ugly. Scan to register. And it's in black. Like, it's a QR code. I don't know. I'd like... To me, someone's got to be... Here's what I just thought of last night. Why do people use QR codes? Restaurants use QR codes. Have you ever noticed where they send you? They send you to some nonsensical URL of some company other than their restaurant. It's not like, myrestaurantname.com/menu. If it were that, you could just write that down. Hey, people, go visit myrestaurant.com/menu to go look at the menu. But it's not. It's some URL that you would never want to type in. But right here we've got an easy URL. So do we really need a QR code? Not necessarily. It could say register at this URL, and it's got a QR code. If someone likes QR codes, they're going to scan the QR code. I think scan to register is kind of ugly, especially if it's like I'm looking at my phone. I cannot scan to register because I'm on my phone. I need another phone to do it. So I'm not too into that. If you really think it's important, fine. But maybe there's a way to make it a little more aesthetically pleasing. That being said, it's a call to action and it's very visible. And that's a good thing. This, I don't like the logo. If India is being chopped off at the bottom, the frog's being chopped off at the top. Never chop a logo. Logos do not get chopped or altered. That frog is not really, I mean, maybe he's pointing at that thing, kind of. Otherwise, the frog's, it's not that cool a frog right there. Um, this then would be the only frog. So, hey, maybe a bigger frog would be cool so that someone looking at this knows it's frog related. Not important, though. Otherwise, the date. The date's more important than the time. First, I need to know, am I available on April 28th? I don't even like 28th April. Maybe in India everyone says that, but am I available on the 28th of which month? I need to know it's happening in April, number one. Then I need to know it's the 28th. So I'd put April 28th or just April 28th, 2025. You don't even really need a comma there. And then underneath it, 11 to 1. Okay, because if I'm not available on the 28th, it doesn't matter if it's 11 to 1. All right, next. All right, I guess we were just looking at a low resolution version. This one's a little bit clearer to see. That's the same thing. And that's all there is for that. Good luck with your event. Hey, I'll be there, and I'm looking forward to it. Hi, I am Save the Frogs founder, Dr. Kerry Kriger. We're back for some more Save the Frogs Day graphic design reviews. This one coming from Kenya, and this is from Jacinta at the Kenya Herpetofauna Working Group, I believe is the group, event at the National or with the National Museums of Kenya and Nature Kenya and various groups here. So we've got logos at the bottom. That's good. There's two versions of this. It looks like it just differs by which logo to use. This one is way more visible right here, though it's not my favorite one. I'll show you my favorite one, and probably I should just clean up the logo folder so that people don't have so many choices of logos to use. And then this right here looks like the width or spacings have changed. I prefer this one right here. There's a little bit more space. This is too crowded right there. So I like that one. So let's just look at this. Start from the top. It's visually pleasing. So it was either done in Canva or some easy to use graphic design software, or it was done by a real graphic designer. I can tell. Looks good. I like that there's an outline drop shadow or whatever it's called. Just a border, a stroke. That's what it is. It makes the text really easy to read. I don't like breaking up save the from frogs and day, but it does make it easy to see like frogs. This is a thing about frogs. So if you're walking by this and you see it, you know, hey, that's for you. So that's fine. Save the frogs day. I usually wouldn't write it like that, but this is kind of artistic. It's fine. Good picture right there to catch the eye. And hey, kind of like we talked about before, a slogan kind of thing. Every croak counts. Act now. It doesn't really mean anything, but it's kind of, just it gets your attention, makes you think. May 2nd, 2025. We got the date, 9 a.m. Now, I like that date before the time, as we were talking about in the last video. This is good. When is it? May 2nd. Oh, I'm free that day, 9 a.m. Cool, I can come. Where is it? National Museums of Kenya. That's where I assume it is. Frog March outside the museum. Talk on frogs by leading herpetologist. Maybe it's plural. Should be plural. I'm not sure. Frog exhibition. I don't know if that's live frogs or photos or whatever, but it's cool. It's like if you're into frogs, you see, oh, there's a Save the Frogs Day. May 2nd. Time, where it is. Cool things are going to happen. Entries free. That's really big because Maybe some people would assume like, nah, that's some paid event, don't have money, but entry free. I like frogs. There's cool stuff happening. I'm free. Check, check, check. I like it. Contact. I'd prefer URL, or I'll say even with a contact number or like register. I don't know if that means you have to register, you just show up, or you just want more info. Contact. I even if there's not a web page dedicated to this event, which there will be, especially if you contact me and we make it together and get it done. It would be cool if it said savethefrogs.com/day-Kenya-2025 or something to that effect. But even at a minimum, savethefrogs.com. That's always just the easiest thing. If nothing else, then someone can learn more about frogs. Why not? It doesn't take that much extra space. Um, so I'd consider adding a URL. Yeah, the thing is full, but it's rare that I would ever put out some kind of graphics that don't have a URL. I want people on the site. Savethefrogs.com/day. Even, I mean, there's like space in here, even if it's small. Every croak counts. Act now. Visit savethefrogs.com/day. It could be there. It doesn't have to be, but I usually put my URLs at the bottom. Now, for the logo, remember we saw two things. This one I prefer because it's easier to read. It's not as visually pleasing, though, as like our main logo would be this with a black background. And then all of a sudden, it becomes super easy to read. Let me go find that. I'm going to hit pause here. Hi, so I went into our logo folder and it's got a bunch of different logos, but the very first folder is logo dash save the frogs dash black. That's my favorite logo right there. This is it right here. We see too much black here. That's not part of the logo. The actual logo file goes to about here, and then here you can kind of see a line. I'm not sure why, but that's it right there. Now imagine you could put this on any background at all and it's going to stand out because it's this green and orange and frog on top of black. So it doesn't matter what color you have in the background. So that is my preferred logo for people to use, kind of like as the default. Now, does it need the URL? It doesn't need the URL, and a good graphic designer would know how to remove it. It doesn't need the URL if there's another Save the Frogs URL on the page, but if there's not, then I would leave it there. Let's go look what else is in the folder. This is the last file in the same folder, at least when it's ordered by name. It's called like logo. Well, here it is, logo. Save the Frogs, black, no URL. Note file names. I discuss file names often when I talk about graphic design and other stuff, because people are usually just like frog or logo or something, and it's a meaningless file name. Here, I can tell because I got literally a million files on my computer. I need to know what something is by looking at its name. It's the logo for Save the Frogs with the black background, and there's no URL on it. Right now, this can go in there where if there's already a big URL on the flyer or whatever, the graphic, you don't need the URL in the logo, which is going to be real small. So here, this is pre-removed for your graphic design pleasure. I hope that helps, and good luck with your event. Hola, we are back. I'm Save the Frogs founder, Dr. Kerry Kriger. This is a design from Colombia, from Ibagué, by Save the Frogs grantee Joan Albero Romero Garcia. My very first thoughts is, hey, this looks kind of cool, and the colors are on brand for Save the Frogs. Now, it's actually kind of interesting because the normal Save the Frogs logo isn't here with the green and the orange, but we've got this Save the Frogs Colombia. But for me, I know the brand, and I know that these are our colors, and I still like that. Even though the normal logo isn't here, but this is perfectly fine. Now, I also like that it's clearly done with someone done by someone who knows something about graphic design, and that it's aesthetically pleasing and professional looking. So I like that. Comes right out and says it. This is an invite. So I don't have to guess, like, is this an educational poster or what is this? It's like, invite me. Celebrate with us is what it says right here. Celebrate with us. Celebra con nosotros. Save the Frogs Day. Save the Frogs Day has this kind of cool font to it, or stretch dimensional thing. It says where it is. A day to get to know, protect, and fall in love with amphibians of Tolima, the state where it's taking place. Good. Says what's going to happen. Says where it's going to happen at the Botanical Gardens at the University of Tolima. 25th of April, Friday, 9 to 4. So it's got the info that you need. Doesn't say if it's free, doesn't say if you need to register, but it's telling you, hey, come, it's saying celebrate with us, and therefore, we'll assume that you can just show up there then. What's going to happen? A photography exposition of amphibians of Tolima, interactive games, and sales of merchandise, and a whole lot more. And it's got a cool looking toad. It's got nice looking logos. This one is a super cool looking logo. Let's see what that is. Semiere de Investigación en Herpetología. I think that's new. I don't remember hearing about that. Maybe you guys changed the name. Whatever it is, I do like that because this kind of looks like scientific branching, like some kind of taxonomic thing, but it's also clearly some toe pads of a frog, and it's got the different groups of animals that you guys work on. I'm assuming you can't tell what that is. Maybe it's like a lizard, super small. Hey, let's zoom in there. Now, this is a 5 megabyte file. When I first saw it, I was like, hey, that's a big file to be sending by email, but it is high resolution, which is cool. All right. Oh, some metamorphs there, and a snake and a frog, and I'm assuming a salamander or lizard. All right, good. I like that. And it's nice. It's got a ping PNG thing, or transparency, so that it shows up on whatever background, but it still has this drop shadow effect, so it's going to be visible against any color, I'm assuming. So anyway, I like that. There's only one thing it's missing. Ooh, I was so close. I was like, I don't have anything to say to change this, and that's never happened ever in my whole life. So of course there's always one thing. What's the most important thing? A URL. Okay, maybe after saying what the thing is you're promoting and giving logos, then it's the URL. Should always be their rule, as I say these days. It is a rule. There should be a URL, because why not? Someone sees us. What if they can't show up? Done. You're never gonna hear from them again. But what if there's a URL? SaveTheFrogs.com/Colombia. SaveTheFrogs.com/Ibagué or /Tolima. I actually did make that webpage long ago. I can't remember if anything's on it. Or we make a dedicated page for the event, SaveTheFrogs.com/day-Ibagué or -Tolima-2025. But that's not done. So for now, always the simplest is just SaveTheFrogs.com. Step up from there is a bit more specific. SaveTheFrogs.com/Colombia. So that's what I suggest. It could go, there's not too much space down here. It could possibly go right there if you're able to shift things up slightly so that there's a little bit of space. It doesn't even have to be big, but at least it's there. Otherwise, like right here, you could theoretically put a URL. I'll leave it up to you, but the URL is so important that it should pretty much be in every single graphic that you ever make about, if it's related to an organization that has a website worth visiting, then there should be a URL. All right. Good job. Good luck with your event and all your frog saving. Namaste. I am Save the Frogs founder, Dr. Kerry Kriger. Let's continue this graphic design tutorial. We're looking at Basant Subedi of We Work for Conservation in Nepal, Save the Frogs grantee, holding a Save the Frogs Day event in Nepal. And I'm not sure what this photo is. Past event, I assume. And here is his design. So my very first thought upon looking at it, doesn't necessarily look professional, but it looks good. It looks like a non-graphic designer did a good job making things nice and clean. Like it's easy on the eye, and I can tell some time went into it, so that's a good start. Here's the file name, poster. So let's assume it's getting printed out. I'd always be careful. Anytime you're going to print anything, don't put things very close to the edge because it may get chopped. So it needs a bit more padding or margin in there. All right, I'd assume for anything I print, I never want to be within half an inch of the edge. So let's go through this. There's no URL on the page. Rule. Always put a URL. If you're going to send me something and you want me to pay for it, if you want Save the Frogs to pay for it, it should have a URL. Why? Because I've put thousands of hours into having an awesome website. Literally thousands of hours I've spent building the Save the Frogs website. I want people to go there. That's the number one action I want them to take. They're at your event. I want them to pay attention and take part. And I want them to go to the website so that they can sign up, take action, learn, volunteer, donate, get involved. All right, colors. Are these colors here for a reason, or are they just randomly chosen? If they're just randomly chosen, then why not use like orange and greens from Save the Frogs, or like, you know, black here with orange here. You don't even necessarily, I mean, I won't go into that. I'm just saying, if you go back to the last tutorial I reviewed, there's like the orange and green. It's very Save the Frogs branded. That's the kind of thing I personally can imagine like sharing in tons of places because it looks like a Save the Frogs poster. I'm not saying yours has to look like a Save the Frogs poster, but unless We Work for Conservation has these colors, then they're just random colors. And then there's like this red color. Red is like stop. Hey, stop. Maybe you want them to stop and look at it, but I don't know. I wouldn't use that red. I find it kind of ugly. All right, food chain. It depends who's looking at it. If you're going to be talking about this, are you using this poster as like your educational tool? Then, or are you going to be talking about food chain? Then maybe you can do that. But do we need even this? Like, I don't know, life cycle of a frog may be more important. Does it matter? Frogs are in the food chain. Really, I mean, is that important? I don't think it's the most important thing. How about, like, what are the threats to frogs? What can you do to save them? Why are frogs important? Things like that. All right, habitat destruction with rapid urbanization. Find killing for food, medicine, and dissection in labs. Kill agriculture. Why frog conservation is needed. Kills agriculture, pest, and mosquito. How about frogs eat pests like mosquitoes or something? Frogs eat pests of mosquito. I mean, there's only so many words you can use, but here killing is bad, here killing is good. So I don't think you should use the word kill twice. Let the kill be the bad thing, and then let what the frogs are doing sound good. Don't use the word kill right here. They eat them. Makes water clean. Why frog conservation is needed. Get rid of that double frog. Why frog conservation is needed. Frogs clean water. Okay, or amphibians. Here you don't really have a frog. That's some AI generated thing. If you can, use real photos if possible, because if you don't do it, somebody's going to complain to me about you shouldn't use AI because it's bad for the environment or whatever reason they like to complain to me. And I personally do like AI, but I want it to be good if I use it. If you can't find other graphics, that's a good reason to use it. If you have some other graphic, then use that. This is fine, but it's not a frog, and you're talking about frog conservation. If you said amphibian conservation, then this thing that doesn't even necessarily look like a real animal. I don't think you should use this picture. I don't like that picture. This one is clear. The frog is eating, I mean, I don't know if that grasshopper is a pest, but the thought is clear. This one, that's AI generated, probably, maybe not, I don't know, but at least it's getting the point across. It's good. Roadkill, yeah, it's not the best photo, but you can tell along with the title, you can tell it's a dead frog. Spraying pesticide in crop field. You don't even need all those words. Major threats to frogs, pesticides. That's all you need to say. Okay, how about how do you help? How do you learn more? Break for frogs. Roads are for them too. Save frog. I mean, roads are not for the frogs, but they use those. Break for frogs use the roads too. if you think that's one of the main things, you didn't mention it here as a major threat to frog. Like, oh no, I'm sorry, you did. Roadkill, yeah. Break for frogs. Frogs use the road too. That's what I'd say. Save frogs. They are farmers' friends. They're everyone's friends. I Here it's a slogan, as I've talked about in this video with other people. Like, there's, you guys like slogans or whatever you call it. It's kind of cool. It sounds good. It's not a call to action. How about learn more, take action at savethefrogs.com? That to me, 10 times as much impact as some like sound feel good slogan. Take action, visit savethefrogs.com or visit savethefrogs.com/Nepal. Did you know that page exists? That page does exist. So why not use that? That's the most relevant page. We work for conservation. You guys need a website. I just looked at your grant proposal and it said, name of organization, We Work for Conservation, which most people have not heard of. And it's a generic name. It's not like, it's just words from the English language put together. And it could be a statement like, yeah, we work for conservation. Do you work for conservation? And therefore, people aren't sure what it is. Is like that an organization name? And if you don't have a real website, because the website you gave was sites.google.com, and immediately when I see that, because I know it tells me, you're telling me we're a new organization, we're not that professional, we're just getting going, and we don't have a real website. That's what you're telling me when I see that URL. Other people may not infer that, but I know it's a true statement, and I can tell just from your URL. And imagine if you had a good website, you wouldn't have to give this stuff down here. Like, it's not visually pleasing. It's an overload. There's like Gmail addresses, which I talked about in a previous part of this video. Like, at gmail.com is another thing. It's telling me you are not that professional. I'm not talking about you personally. I'm just saying in general, the person out there using a gmail.com address for a professional purpose is not as professional as the person who has at savethefrogs.com or at wwf.com or at weworkforconservation.com or at defendersofwildlife.org. Those are real email addresses. Those are professional email addresses that instill respect and trust, we'll say, as opposed to at Gmail. Just means like, I'm some guy who got a Gmail address and I'm just getting started. So what I suggest is you don't need all this info. Like, give them one way to contact you. Everyone's got email or everyone's got a phone. Give one of them. Contact person is fine if it's really necessary, but I don't ever put like contact Kerry Kriger. I just put, if I need to give an email address, I'll put contact at savethefrogs.com. But really, I'm not even going to do that. Like, I don't want you going to your email and just like pound me with messages. I've got enough messages. Go to the website, learn something, get your answer there. And then if you're really interested in emailing me, then go to the contact page. You'll be able to find it if you really need to. Maybe you want them to email you. That's fine. But I'd consider, like, if you really want to get in touch with people, there's better ways to do that. That would be called a lead magnet. You give them something you want, like download your free Frogs of Nepal booklet at savethefrogs.com/Nepal. Then they go to the website, they get educated, they can spend time there, and they can download it and give you their email there, and it goes to the foreman. You don't even have to talk to them. That's the best way to do things. For now, though, getting back to the graphic design, though, it's fine, but I would reduce it. You don't need all that stuff in there. Just give them a slight amount of info and consider getting your organization a real website. Make that your goal in the next year. By the 18th annual Save the Frogs Day, April 28th, 2026, your organization will have a real website and you will have a real email address associated with that website that looks professional. That is all I have to say, other than right here, look, you've got this logo. It's kind of from our sticker, I think. I'm not sure where you got this. And it includes the URL in there, but the URL is so small that no one's going to be able to read it, so it doesn't need to be there. So if you go back in this video, I don't know, like 20 minutes back, there's the huge logo, and I have a discussion on the best logo to use, which would be the square logo. It's fine, though. It's good that the logo is there. The colors are there. It's branded. Save the Frogs. That's fine. It's not optimal, though, so I'm just giving you a tip to optimize Good luck with your event. Namaste. I am Save the Frogs founder, Dr. Kerry Kriger. We're back for another Save the Frogs Day graphic design review. 17th annual Save the Frogs Day coming up April 28th, 2025. And here's some graphic designs from Save the Frogs grantee Neha Joshi of Nepal, Youth for Conservation Siddhant Campus. And this first one, it says banner. All right, use good file names, use meaningful file names. Banner, Save the Frogs Day, Nepal, something like that. Because remember, you're sending this to other people. They may have a lot of banners. They don't know which yours is, so use a good file name. All right, it's a banner. I assume it's going to get printed. I'm not sure, but let's assume it's going to print. Save the Frogs Day could easily go in one line and then it's not being broken up. It looks fine how it is, I guess, because here you've got two different color greens, dark green and leaf green, and therefore it all fits on one. But I usually like Save the Frogs Day to go together. You can leave this out as April 28th every year. I'm curious where your colors are coming from. The yellow, a little bit hard to read, maybe. It's not Save the Frogs branded colors. Is it the colors of Youth for Conservation? Is it the colors for Siddhant Campus? If not, it's a random color. And better than a random color is a branded color. And since the only logo on here, you don't have your organization's logos, which you should if you're printing this. They don't have to be big. You don't have to. I'm fine with this only saying Save the Frogs, because then we get all the credit and everyone sees our logo. This looks like our sticker. Maybe it's in the logo files. It's got the URL there, but it's really small and it's not as relevant as it could be. What's a relevant URL? A more relevant URL is savethefrogs.com/day or savethefrogs.com/Nepal. Or really relevant, well, this thing, it's not going to be the URL of your event page, because I can tell this thing could be used in future years, which is cool. April 28th every year. If it were only going to get used this year, then it would say the 17th annual Save the Frogs Day, or Save the Frogs Day 2025, or 17th annual Save the Frogs Day, April 28th, 2025. But this thing can be used every year because it's not specific, which is fine. Raise your voice, save the frogs. It's another slogan. I keep seeing these today. They're kind of cool, but compare that with take action, visit savethefrogs.com/Nepal. And then that person goes to the website and hopefully takes some action, as opposed to just having a catchy slogan that doesn't really tell them what to do. Raise your voice, I guess. Photo credit is fine there, but is that super important? Like, did Biraj say you got to credit me or make it big? Like, this is the kind of thing this to me, like, credits should just be like small, even smaller than that. Doesn't have to be. It's fine. But I personally would like bring it down. Maybe make it white if it looks better. But right here, look at all this space. Like, savethefrogs.com should fill up all this space, or at least a lot of it. Like, you got tons of space. Make use of it. savethefrogs.com/Nepal or savethefrogs.com/day. That's what should go there. Let's move on to the next thing. All right, this is created by someone else. We've already seen this before, so I won't go into that. Raise your voice, save the frogs. World, Save the Frogs Day. Get rid of the word world, because that's not the name of the event, and that will confuse people, because separately there is a World Frog Day. I've got a website, worldfrogday.org. Go read the history of worldfrogday.org, and you can see that event likely arose out of a confusing name, because Save the Frogs Day is the original event. Now there's people saying things like International Day of Amphibian Conservation, which again is just a false name. They're really talking about Save the Frogs Day. They're using an incorrect name. Go to savethefrogs.com/day-communicate. All right, there's a Save the Frogs a communications guide. Do not use false names. This is a false name, or it's a potentially confusing name. So get rid of the word world. Save the Frogs Day. You don't even need that vertical bar there, divider. April 28th every year, or April 28th, 2025. Are you specific to this year? If so, use the year. If not, put April 28th every year, because then no matter when someone sees this, they know. Say the Frogs Day is coming up, April 28th. All right, frogs are the indicators of healthy ecosystems. I'd get rid of the word the. Frogs are indicators of healthy ecosystems. First off, like, we don't need raise your voice, save the frogs up there. That's a slogan. Put that at the bottom or something. It's Save the Frogs Day. Again, I don't know what this is for. I always need to know what something's for. Is this for online use? Is this going to be printed out? Is this going to be handed to everybody? Is this going to be a poster? Is this going to be up at the event? Because that changes things. Like, if it's at the event, Save the Frogs Day is the event. That should come to the top. Save the Frogs Day. Or Save the Frogs Day 2025. Or Save the Frogs Day at Sit-Unt University, or whatever it is. But put your slogans down at the bottom. And if you say Save the Frogs, put it's all caps. Put the exclamation point, just like in our logo. This logo's ugly. It's got that white surrounding it. That should not be used. The white is not part of the logo. You go find our rectangular logo. Go back 30 minutes in this video, and I discussed the rectangular logo with and without the URL. Frogs belong in ponds, not in history books. It's another slogan. Okay, it's good. Maybe it's true, but it's not a call. It's not a call to action. Why not? At the bottom, give them something to do. What are they going to do? They're going to go visit the website. I've literally spent thousands of hours building the website so that when someone goes there, they can take action, sign up for the newsletter, volunteer, donate, learn, get a scholarship, become a member, etc. I want them on the website. I don't want them just to think like, it's true, frogs belong in ponds, not in history books. Now I'm going to go eat lunch. Want to be my hero? It's kind of cool if it's for kids, I guess. We don't need the frog in the middle. Just put the frog at the left side. Want to be my hero? Or like take action even more specifically. You can be a frog hero. It doesn't need to be there twice. It's not so cool that it deserves to be written twice. It's cool, but not enough to be written twice. You can be a frog hero. Here's how. Ways to help save the frogs like this. You can be a frog hero, : 2 dots. Means here's how. Like, look, next. Period just means full stop. We're done. You can be a frog hero. That's done. But so it should be : 2 vertical dots. Conservation actions. We've got the threats to frogs right here. These ones are nicely spaced. This one's jammed up against the side. So slide this out. These have headlines. This does not have a headline, yet it's at the top. Things at the top are more important. Give them all headlines. Frogs are important. Here's 2 reasons why. Or about frogs, whatever it is. It needs a headline, just like these do. The colors aren't that great. Like, get a real graphic designer if you can. I don't know how you design this. I'd like to know. In Canva, if you didn't use Canva, go use Canva. If you didn't use a graphic designer and have access to a real graphic designer, ideally a volunteer who does it for free in your group, because you're coming from a group, someone there has more skills with graphic design, give it to them and it'll look better. Or take some time to make it look better. Like, it's not that visually pleasing. I can tell this was not done professionally. It doesn't have to be professional, but put a little bit more time into making it look good if you have some time. Whatever it is, this thing should all come down. Like, look at all this space here. Everything's jammed in here. And then conservation actions, but there's no actions under it. Then you say you can be a frog hero. Then you say want to be my hero. Like, I would just get rid of the hero stuff completely. Save your space. Here's the conservation actions. Don't throw waste in ponds. Say no to harmful chemicals. Tell friends why frogs matter. Learn and talk about frogs in class. Maybe they can learn in class, but maybe not. But they can learn at SaveTheFrogs.com. You can put this thing small somewhere else. Frogs belong in ponds, not in history books. But at the bottom, that's where URLs go. URLs go at the bottom. Rule. Always have a URL and put it at the bottom. All right, it's the last thing someone sees. They've read your stuff. Now here's the thing that they're going to do. If you put it somewhere else, like in the middle, it's fine, but now they're going to see it, but they're still reading, and then they forgot there's URL. Make the last thing the URL. Fill up the space with it. It's implied that it's where they should go to learn more, but if you really need to, you can say learn more at, get involved at, take action at, sign up at. That's your call to action. CTA is what it's called. There's an official term for it. CTA, call to action. You should have one. And a better logo. Never jam logos up into a corner. Rule throughout the graphic design world, logos need clear space is what it's called. You don't touch your logo to things. You give it the respect it deserves, not just to say the Frogs logo, but any logo, if it's a well done logo for certain, deserves some respect, and that's shown by giving it clear space so that it's not forced against things. All right, that's it. Good luck with your event.